for coming. I'm Shalya Marsh, and this is Naomi Clement. We're the student directors at large on the board of NCECA. And as you know, we're here to tell you about opportunities for students, specifically NCECA-related opportunities, so how you can take advantage of the organization for your benefit, both educationally and otherwise. So we're going to start by kind of telling you a little bit about the things that you can apply for. And these things include exhibitions, fellowships, and presentations. You can apply to be up here in this room presenting to the general membership of NCECA. The first thing that we really wanted to talk to you about is exhibitions. So this is an image of last year's National Student Juried Exhibition. As student members of NCECA and as students, you are eligible to apply for this this exhibition. It's curated by 2 jurors each year, and the jurors for our next year's exhibition are Sam Harvey and Martina Lanton. We're really looking forward to it, and we've got an excellent space in Pittsburgh for this exhibition. It should be fantastic. It's a great way to promote your work, to get your work out there. This exhibition is seen by so many people because of the conference and the bus tour. So the bus tour goes here, they bring the collector's tour here. It's a great opportunity to network at the opening. And speaking of the opening for this exhibition is on Friday evening. It's at the Oregon College of Art and Design. So join us there to see your fellow students' work. So, let's see. The deadline for that is in September, and so you can apply to be to go in Pittsburgh and be in this exhibition. The other thing that you can do is you could put together an exhibition proposal. So NCECA takes general exhibition proposals and from our membership, and those are juried to create all these exhibitions that you see everywhere. Not only the exhibitions in the convention center, but all of those exhibitions are put together by NCECA membership, and there's no restrictions on who can apply for those. So if you have an idea about a group of people that you want to see in a show together, you can curate an exhibition. That's really about writing a proposal and getting images together and talking to artists to do that.
I would just say one last thing about the student juried exhibition. Just because you don't get in one year, apply every single year. The jury changes, and also don't take it personally if you don't get in. We sit in on those jury calls, and it's really fascinating, the stuff that we would have expected to get in that doesn't get in, and the stuff that it really depends on the dynamic of the 2 jurors, so apply every year.
It does, and you know, that reminds me just of, I was sitting in at the round table this morning, and the idea of subjectivity and art being such a subjective thing. And when a show is juried, even when we're jurying the conference programming, it really varies year to year depending on who is looking at those proposals. And this is true for any proposal that you put out there, that you may be sad that you didn't get it one year, but that jury will be completely different the next year, and they'll have completely different viewpoints because art is so subjective. So the next thing is the NCECA Fellowships. This is an image from one of our former NCECA Fellowship winners. This is Wares for the People, like Hill Irving, and this is him participating. The NCECA Fellowships are open to students, and they can be really specific, so they can be really project specific. You can be applying to do a specific project or acquire a piece of equipment, or they can be broader, so they can support your general practice. So as an artist in an educational program, you may be working towards a thesis exhibition. Funds can be used for that, and the proposals really do vary a lot. If you have questions about this, if you're not sure, you can always ask questions to us or to the committee that juries the fellowships. This is another one of the fellowships. This is the a graduate student fellow from San Diego State University, Mary Kale Andrag Wilson. That's a four-parter. And this was a very specific research-centered project that was site-specific to a place that was near her home. There are fellowships for undergraduates, there are fellowships for graduate students, and these are something that you do want to plan a little bit in advance because you need letters of recommendation. So actual letters of recommendation and not just references, that always trips me up, right? Because you got to ask for your letters of recommendation in advance, or your faculty might be a little cranky with you, right? So plan ahead, think about it now, and start preparing to just brainstorm your ideas and then ask your faculty. It's always a good idea to send your faculty also a copy of your proposal so that when they're writing a letter for you, they can advocate for what you want to do. It shows that you've kind of put that time in and that they can really be specific and not just write a generic letter saying how fabulous you are, but saying how much you deserve to be doing the project that you want to do.
And one thing I'll add to this too, I was on the committee this year jurying in the fellowships. We get very few applications for these. I think we gave away like 3 graduate student ones and 3 undergraduate or something like that, and there were less than 10 applications for each. And this is like free money, you know? It's like
it is.
And it's a good chunk of money too. So apply.
And the other thing is that you, as students, if you're applying to these fellowships, there are less of you applying than in general other grant opportunities, and so you will never have a better chance of getting accepted than right now. And also, as students applying for these opportunities, it's our role on the board to really mentor you through the process of application and the process of going through the steps. So we look at it as a teaching opportunity, and so you'll have the chance to learn in that. And that's not always something that you get from a general out there grant application or fellowship. We'll give you feedback, you know, and give you reminders. So undergraduate and graduate student fellowships, the last fellowship that we wanted to mention was the Multicultural Fellowship. Multicultural Fellowship is for a first-time NCECA goer only, so since you're all at NCECA, it is not eligible for you, but it may be something that your friends could apply to. So if you know somebody who would be eligible who's never been to NCECA before, please tell them about the Multicultural Fellowship and encourage them to apply. And again, all those deadlines for that are in early October. And all of the information about all of these programs, applications to apply, all of the instructions and deadlines are on the NCECA website, and that's also promoted through the NCECA Blog. So the last thing that I want to talk to you about before I turn the presentation over to Naomi is presentations. So this specific room here, it's the student interests room. And so a lot of the programming that goes on in this room is generated by students and is for students. And student programming doesn't mean, if you're a student and you want to put together a presentation, it does not mean that you need to only talk about things that are relevant to students. We're talking about things that are relevant to students right now, but you may be in the midst of an amazing research project that you want to share with the ceramics community. You may be researching some really fascinating part of ceramic history, and you could put that research that you're doing together into a presentation and submit it to our programming stream, and come up here and present that information to NCECA. We want to hear what you're doing. What you're doing is really, really vital to the field. And so we encourage you to, again, think a little bit about it. What do you have to share? What information would you like to see that's not being represented? And maybe get a couple of other people from the ceramic community or from the greater art community or from your educational institution together to present a panel or present your research. So for this next call, that programming deadline is May 10th. The student perspectives, it used to be called student perspectives, so it's now called student interests. Just keep that in mind when you go on the website to look.
And if you're interested in submitting a proposal but unsure of how to write a good proposal, we are conveniently enough giving a presentation tomorrow at this same time in this room about how to write a winning presentation, I believe is the title.
So we'll share a lot of information, specific information about what's on the website and how you go about the process and what we're really looking for in those proposals. And then we'll give you tips about the things not to do. So the last thing is short form. So that's the other thing that's in this room are the Blink 2020 presentations. They're Pacha-Kacha style presentations. They're very quick, 7-minute presentations. But if you're a little hesitant about being up here for a half an hour or an hour presenting information, the Blink 2020 is it
20 slides.
20 slides, 14 seconds each or 20 seconds each. So it comes out to about 7 minutes. And they advance automatically, so you don't even have to think about clicking the button. You just put together your presentation and time it to that timing, and then you can talk about the images. And again, those presentations can vary from a specific body of work that you want to talk about, or a research facet, or something that interests you in the field that you would like to share with the broader community. They're, as Cindy Brocker likes to say, good for people with short attention spans. You get a lot of information in a really condensed time.
And one last thing I would say about the presentations, too, as student interest, it's a really great opportunity for you guys to sort of get your feet wet with presenting at NCECA. We have fewer people submitting proposals for student interest, so your chances of getting accepted are much higher than if you're submitting for regular conference programming. And one of the things we look at when we're doing regular conference programming is what's this person's track record of giving a presentation. So it's a great way to show us that you have experience, you've done this before, and then potentially get into regular stream programming, which all looks fantastic on your resume.
It's a great way to get your feet wet. All of these opportunities are really that. And also, again, if you want to, take a whack at it, practice, right? This is a much smaller room, so much less stress, right? I don't like getting up in front of people, but this size crowd is much more accessible than, say, one of those really big rooms that scares me. It scares me a little.
So I'm going to chat about different ways you guys can participate in NCECA other than applying for things. So let's go through. First one, you guys are members. As student members, that gives you certain benefits. Applying for shows is one, but participating is another. We also have, so student memberships, that's $25, $30 less than standard membership. And then transitional memberships for once you're not a student anymore. I think you can get those for 2 years after.
Yeah, 2 years after you're not a student anymore, you're eligible for a transitional membership, which is discounted, so you don't have to yet pay the full price. It's a nice way to transition.
Yeah. And then there is also what a lot of people don't know about. There's a members database that sort of has a list of members where they are, different states, places around the world. So say you're moving to a new state and you want to check out, okay, who's in this Clay community, you can look on the website for the NCECA members. And then another really key part of your membership is voting. NCECA is a member-driven organization. All of our content is member-driven. What we do is member-driven, so we really rely on you guys to help select the board. So you guys can vote. I think you can vote in the app. Can you?
Yeah, you can vote in the app.
Okay. The NCECA members meetings. So as members, you're able to come to these meetings. We just had one this morning, the first business meeting, and then Saturday, sort of after the emerging artist talks, there's another one. That's an open one. That's the business meeting is just after that, and then there's the open board meeting, sorry, my apologies, from 12:40 to 1:40. And that's a really great way for you guys to just come and actually give feedback on the conference. If you're like, okay, this is something I really liked, something that didn't work so great, or something I would love to see in the future, it's open. You can come and give us your feedback on the conference. That's what that is for, so we really encourage you to make use of that. Voting, as I mentioned before, please vote. We have 2 candidates for directors at large, and there's 1 candidate for student director. But you can vote. An email gets sent out to all members with a link to voting. So we'd encourage you to do that. Another way to participate is to volunteer. We're always looking for great candidates for the board, such as this position, the student director position at large. Has been a fantastic experience for me. It's a 2-year position, so we overlap by 1 year, and then a new person will cycle on. And you get to be involved in all aspects of the conference, go to meetings. It's just a great way to meet people in the field and kind of get your feet wet. I'm personally interested in sort of nonprofit management, that kind of thing, working in community arts organizations, so I just thought it would be a great way to kind of get my feet wet with that, and I've been really blown away by the experience. So you get to sit at a table with 15 amazing professionals in the field and make decisions about the future of our field. So those nominations happen. You can self-nominate. You do need letters of support, and that happens in early October. And one thing I should mention with the student director position, we've changed it. You only need to be a student the semester that you're elected. So technically, if you were running right now, you could be graduating and not be a student anymore. So that I didn't have that opportunity. I'm currently in my final semester of grad school, so I'm doing it all at the same time, but we've changed that just to make it a bit more feasible for students. So keep that in mind. And then volunteering at the NCECA conference, you get discounted conference fees, and there's like a sign up that goes out. You can sign up for all sorts of different jobs. I have someone helping me in the student critique room. I forget when exactly.
So like a lot of the people that you see helping people check in or even monitoring the doors are volunteers, and so they get discounts in exchange for that time. So you can be at conference if you can't afford to actually pay the conference registration fee. It's a great way to kind of subsidize your trip here. Plus, it's a great way to network with other people and be involved in the organization, kind of.
Yeah, a lot of people actually volunteer year after year because they really like that aspect of being part of the conference in that way. And then, so mark your calendars for 2018 Pittsburgh volunteer applications open in October 2017. So the spots go quickly, and especially, I know they do a sign up for what slots you want to do, so the sort of prime jobs go quickly as well. So if you're interested in volunteering, I would just keep an eye out for that date. And then another thing that a lot of people don't know about is as a member, you can nominate someone for an award. This is a really great way to recognize incredible professionals in our field. So you can, the Excellence in Teaching Award, there's the Outstanding Achievement Award, and the Regional Award for Excellence. So the Excellence in Teaching Award is one that I feel like is really relevant to our student members because we've all had those teachers who've really been incredible mentors and deserve to be recognized. And again, I was on the nominations committee, and we only get kind of a handful of nominations, and those can be faculty from any type of institution. We've had high school teachers. One high school teacher won it before, and it's just a really fantastic way to honor a mentor. And then the student critique room, which is actually just right next door in C124. I see some familiar faces from there and the sign up. So that is a way to get a critique with a professional in our field. We've got some fantastic people giving critiques. The sign up for that online sign up happened starting a few weeks ago. So that we pushed that out through the blog and social media, and we also sent an email to all of our student members to let them know about that. So keep an eye out for that, because the sort of prime slots go really fast. One thing we're introducing this year for the first time is drop-in slots. So if you haven't signed up for a slot already, you still have an opportunity to get a critique. So during most time periods, there's a mentor who is there for someone. It's just available on a first-come, first-served basis. You need to bring images of your work on a USB drive. There's no Wi-Fi access in that room, but we've got computer stations. And it's just a really fantastic way to get feedback. Actually, we had one of the drop-in slots open and no one showed up, so I got to talk with one of the mentors, and I'm in my final semester of grad school, so I didn't actually really want to talk a lot about my work because there's no time to change anything, but I chatted with him about professional development stuff and advice for getting jobs and interviews and stuff, so you guys can use that time however you want it. It's your time, and I would really recommend you take advantage of that. Right next door, drop-in slots. I hope you will do that. Yeah, I think I basically covered all that. And then lastly, just the resource hall. So, I mean, you're all probably pros at being in there, but I would just really suggest, as someone who's been through that hall as a prospective grad student, I was terrified to go up and talk to tables. I don't know why, because they're paying money to be there to talk to you. They want to talk to you. So don't be intimidated by that. I know it's a scary thing to sort of, or for some people it can be a scary, intimidating thing to go and ask questions, but literally they have flown thousands of miles and spent hundreds of dollars to have that booth, print out their documents, and talk to you. So I would just recommend you take advantage of that. Go and talk to every single program. The same thing goes for all the fantastic residencies out there. It's just it can be an overwhelming space. Time can fly. You have no idea how 2 hours passed. But I would just recommend to take advantage of that and introduce yourself to people. There are a lot of people here at NCECA who are here for the first time. So, that's the nice thing about these badges. Get to see if someone's a student and ask them about the school they go to, introduce yourself. That's what NCECA is kind of all about, I think. And then, sorry, I lied. This is the last thing, I believe, the NCECA blog and social media. So we're always looking for great content. And as I said, we're a member-driven organization, so if there's something you're really excited about at conference or in the field of ceramics, we would suggest that you, I'll go back. Let us know, right? We are happy to promote excellent content.
And with the blog, if you're one of those kind of people who writes a lot or uses social media a lot, you're good at navigating social media. Cindy Brocker, our communications director, does offer exchanges of conference fees and things. I don't know exactly what the terms are, but if you like writing and you want to write about things that are happening in the field and for ceramics, she'll do exchange. And so it's a great way not only to get your writing out there and in front of NCECA membership, because again, we want to hear what you have to say, but also to get a little exchange on fees for sure.
And so yeah, the last thing we'd leave you with is just don't be afraid to get involved. We're a members organization and we exist solely for your participation.
Does anybody have any questions about this information or other opportunities? Yes.
Would all of the NCECA opportunities be open to anyone from any country outside of America?
Naomi is an international student, so board opportunities are available to international students. There are some minor restrictions, which we could talk about individually. As long as you're a member, you can apply for the exhibitions. Exhibitions. Oh.
No, you have to be a student in a U.S. institution. I'm looking to change that. but that's a little time out. But you can apply for regular conference programming and student programming. I know we've got students coming from Canada, and we've got presenters coming from around the world, so that type of programming you can definitely, I think the exhibitions are a little more limited
Because of shipping.
because of shipping issues, but pretty much everything else is open. Any other?
I see when you pull up the fellowships, they were just for graduates and undergraduates,
Correct.
so there's no sort of opportunities for post-bachelor's or
Not at the moment. We've been, over the years, actually kind of tweaking the student membership description, trying to be more inclusive to include post-bacs, and we're working towards including things like apprenticeships, although it's not yet. It's kind of tricky to navigate. And so those things are on the table in terms of discussions, but we have not yet figured out a place for you. Are you a post-bac?
But post-bacs can apply for programming, like presentations, and for the exhibition as well, that kind of stuff, just not the fellowships. Any other questions? Yeah.
When it comes to the Regina Brown Fellowship, now what, I guess I'm not necessarily quite sure what all the boundaries of that is. Could you maybe give me some examples of what some people have done in the past?
Well, I was on the committee for that this year, and I know we had a student, one of the students that was accepted, he was doing, it was sort of an outreach project with Clay. I think he lived in sort of a at-risk community, and he was working with youth there and sort of going to do sort of more of like a social practice project. And then I know for one of the graduate ones, there was someone who had a very specific piece of equipment that they were wanting to get money for, and there was someone who had some travel stuff.
So it is really broad, and so there's not like a specific, you need to apply in this way for this thing. It's meant to support you as students and what you're doing. So these are some of the projects. This was a community outreach program, this site-specific exhibition. This is support for a specific thesis exhibition of an undergraduate student. And this was support to do research at this natural history museum to pair with an exhibition or a body of work, I should say. So you can see it's really broad from I need resources to help me with this thesis exhibition to I really want to study, this was specifically I want to study this right here.
And I know that in the applications that we received this fall, I think one of the students, because you have to submit a budget, and part of it was for the specific project that he wanted to do, but then part of it was to come to NCECA. So I would just recommend that you be specific about what your project is, not just say, I want this money because I, don't have any money and I want to make my art. Just be specific. And the student who got it for buying a piece of equipment, he actually had matching funds from his school would match it. So things like that definitely help make the application more stronger, make it stronger, I would say.
And I think that one of the things about putting together the proposal is that it needs to be written in a way that we get the sense that you can do what you're saying you can do or you want to do. So if you're saying that you want to do this, like you want to take over the world, we probably won't believe that you can actually do that. And so like being realistic about what you're actually doing and like putting in place things that will show that you can do that. So if it's like that you want to have this exhibition off-site because you have to do a group show for your thesis, but you want to have a solo show, and you need some funds to support that, having a venue, saying you have a commitment from a venue that says they'll host you, is a great way to show that you have put in place some of the things. Not everything, right? Because you can't have everything in place. Then you wouldn't need help. But some of the things.
And I would also say with any kind of application like that, people generally are looking to see that you're also putting in some personal funds, that you've got skin in the game, that it's like you're going to do this project regardless, but
Right.
it would help make you more successful if you could have additional funds.
Yeah.
Would be my suggestion.
And usually you are going to put out some funds anyway, right? Like even if you get grants, there's usually something that's extra there and you've planned for a little bit of money to do that thing. So it's kind of an accessible thing to be able to put that in. It can be even just like that you're gonna, I mean, like if it was for travel, that you're gonna be using your own personal car, like those things, you know, show that you're kind of in it, that you have some skin in the game.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody?
The most important thing is to apply and participate. If you don't apply, you will not get anything. And there are many, many opportunities. If you don't participate, you know, you will get things, actually. If you don't participate at all, you'll still get stuff. But you will not be taking advantage of all that NCECA has to offer. So going out there and like being scared, because the resource hall scares me, actually. I felt that way, especially when I was a student. Like I didn't take advantage of that as a research tool for when I was applying to grad school. You know, I was all in my computer and online, but I could have gone and asked people who are actually attending those programs, like, what do you like about it? Is it cross-disciplinary? Is the facility nice? Do you like living in the town? And I didn't, like, I was scared of it. But, you know, they're there for you. It's absolutely true. So participation is key, and applying.
And with the student perspectives too, I think, or student interests programming, I believe it's sort of changing a little bit. So if you graduate and you're not a student anymore, but you're like, you know, I really wish I would have learned this when I was a student. You can do a student interests. Sorry.
It's hard for us to adapt the new language.
You can do a student
Change.
interest presentation for students who are saying, like, as a new graduate, like, I really wish I'd learned this, or these are the things I'm really glad I did, or I wish I'd done better, that kind of thing. And as I said, we're doing a presentation tomorrow in here at the same time, 11:15, about writing presentations. So
How to put together a winning proposal.
But definitely I would say apply. As a Canadian, I will give you a hockey quote. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, from the great one, Wayne Gretzky. And it's very true. There's been shows that or things I've applied to that I was like, I'm never gonna get this, and I get it. And things I applied to, like, yeah, I totally got this. And I'm like, I don't got this.
Yeah.
So just, you know, put your work out there and put yourself out there, and people will recognize you. And that idea too, I think, especially if you're trying to make yourself appealing as a candidate, you know, for grad school or whatever, that you're a community person. They're thinking about you as a whole person too, or for jobs or whatever, you know. And if they see that you're out here contributing back to the field in a real, like, tangible way, that will only help you, I would say.
Yeah. And even if you don't get it, if you apply and you don't get it, the process of going through that application is so beneficial, and you will be so much better the next time that you apply.
Yeah.
And like we said before, it's so subjective. These committees that are looking at your proposals, at your artwork, they change every year. They want different things, and so apply again and again and again.
Yeah. And I'll get to your question shortly, but I had there was something I was thinking about applying for, and I was like, I really don't think I'm the kind of candidate they want. And my teacher said, it's like, you know what? It's like $20. I'd pay $20 to get my work in front of those two faculty. I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
And let them decide.
Sorry, and you had a question?
For the student interest, do you have to be an MFA grad or?
You can be as long as you're a student.
And it's pretty open. This is like post-bacs, apprentices. We, like, in that case, we are not strictly going by the definition. We'll decide. So if you consider yourself a student, then you should apply, you know. If you have something to share and that's good and you think it fits in that student interest category and you fit there.
Well, and as we said, it's sort of changed. So even if you're a recent graduate, you know, you could apply with something that was student focused. But the student interest programming doesn't always have to. It can be either that you're a student doing a presentation or that it's a presentation geared towards students.
So this is geared towards students, right? But we're doing a student interests proposal tomorrow, the how to write a winning proposal, that's not geared towards students, it's geared towards everyone. So it'll give you, students, all the information you need to put together a proposal, but it would also give that information to anyone else, any other member of NCECA. It's still a student interests proposal, it's under this category, but it could be for anyone in NCECA, although the information is very relevant to you.
Any other?
Last call?
Bueller?
Lunchtime?
Thanks so much for coming, and just a reminder, if you make notes in the app, or that helps us know how to do a better presentation next time.
And vote. I know we had a slide about it, but we're just gonna
Vote.
say it again. If you got the email, go ahead and vote. If you didn't get the email, go on the app, there's a way to vote. It's really easy. It'll take you 10 minutes, including watching the videos.